All our sensory organs are the doors that connect us to our environment, but they are not useful in the astral world. Astral life is all energy and thought. It is through thought that she communicated with her mother and felt all the affection her mother felt. She perceived her when she thought. Now, in Eternal Life, Answers from Science, we are going to respond to a selection from the thousands of questions sent to us via social networks.
Do you think animals and plants have consciousness?
Definitely. In 2014, a meeting happened in Cambridge. Very knowledgeable people were there, including Stephen Hawking, who had not yet passed away. A clear conclusion was reached. Every living being has consciousness. How do we define consciousness? Consciousness is the knowledge of our existence, of our reflections and our actions. Humans have the highest form, which along with consciousness includes self-awareness. What is self-awareness? It is like a mirror where we see if our thoughts, actions, and behaviors are honest, ethical, and moral or not. Plants and animals do not have this self-awareness, but they do have self-consciousness. Every living being has consciousness. How can you prove it? For example, you sometimes see it in relation to the sun. The plant turns, there are plants that turn. Animals do the same. They have feelings for their young. They kill only for what they need. They kill a gazelle, but when they are full, I've seen the gazelle pass by and brush against the lion, and the lion does not kill it because it does not need to. It is aware that it is alive. I am alive, I need to eat, I kill one, but I do not kill more. The human who has self-awareness and freedom is the one who begins to commit atrocities. But every living being, all living things, and we call living those that can replicate themselves, has awareness.
Do animals and plants have souls?
This is a more profound question. The soul means you have a consciousness that allows you, along with consciousness, self-awareness. The soul is unique to humans. It is human, meaning it allows you, via the law of cause and effect, to see the dynamics of your actions and thoughts. And here you can say if it's ethical or not, if this is ethical or unethical. Follow the archetypes of Planck, Jung, and Plato, or is this, let's say, an excessive manifestation of the ego that seeks only doing whatever it takes for personal gratification? In other words, the soul is, as we mentioned earlier, our story. It reflects our path during our current three-dimensional human existence. The soul is human. They have awareness, but no supraconsciousness or soul.
So does karma affect only human beings?
For me, exclusively, it affects humans. It is the story they have created. An animal does not have to share its story with anyone. It moves instinctively. It is conscious, but it moves instinctively. It moves according to what pressures it and acts on its instincts, which is simply biology, but it knows what it does. It is conscious. On the other hand, I have instincts, but I think I can see by instinct, for example, anything that interests me or I want this wealth, I find it interesting, so I steal it. Careful, I'm crossing over, I'm entering the realm of ethics. I have the ability to discern if my instinct leads me to a situation. I have consciousness and self-awareness. He doesn't. Karma is nothing more than our history in a cause and effect relationship of everything we've done. It is our evolution towards spirituality and holiness. Thus, we possess supraconsciousness, a soul, and consciousness. Animals have awareness, but at a lower level, lacking self-awareness.
Are there documented cases in literature about reincarnations in animals or past lives of animals?
I cannot say this because I do not know. That being said, I have read, for instance, Allan Kardec, as we've noted, is one of the most evolved mediums I've come across who can, depending on a person's karma situation, the mediums say this, and I can't verify it because I don't reach this. They say it's feasible and possible, and it happens. They can reincarnate into beings of lower lives than the ones they are.
Do you believe hypno?
I believe in hypnosis. I have no personal experience with it. I've read about people with considerable experience, especially psychiatrists. For example, Ian Stevenson, Brian Weiss, these people who are psychiatrists and use hypnosis. Why do they use hypnosis? Hypnosis, in the end, aims to delve into our subconscious and see what habits we have in our subconscious that are conditioning emotional pathology in our lives. So, through hypnosis, deep hypnosis can lead to access to the subconscious. As I have noted, one can see elements of past lives. I'm not really into hypnosis. I dislike having my subconscious accessed. I prefer the focus on erasing my ignorance, searching for and understanding my true identity, the awareness of my true self, the purpose of my existence. I believe I can reach out, and I have contacted my supraconsciousness through other paths, such as meditation. I don't judge it because even these psychiatrists use it as a therapeutic approach to tackle psychological issues motivated by past pathological habits, even from other lives. However, I am not fond of this and lack any experience. Yet, it is a reality we cannot deny in any way.
One of the reasons why he explains that an NDE is not hallucinations are that patients describe events happening on the other side of the world at that same moment. Is this verifiable?
Absolutely. This is nothing more and nothing less than applying the principle of quantum entanglement. This is proven, but it is absolutely proven objectively. For example, I explained to them that a patient I had who was declared clinically dead and whom I was reviving explained to me with all sorts of details what was going on in the ER in every department of the emergency service. She even mentioned to me in the last department she was a nurse. She knew perfectly because she had already done shifts and she was already dead at that moment. They say that at that time the trauma surgeons were performing surgery on a femur neck fracture. I had a conversation with the trauma staff and observed the computers and nurses precisely at the moment she informed me they were performing surgery on the femur neck fracture and not just proximity. It's mentioned at the antipodes, meaning at various distances. And this is the principle of quantum entanglement we've talked about, a fundamental principle that's difficult to understand, but fundamental in quantum mechanics. In other words, it is certified and true that they can describe all sorts of details about what is happening at distances, any distance you wish, at that precise moment when their body is clinically dead.
If he experienced what he describes while working as a doctor at Belvidge Hospital, why didn't he explain it back then, but is doing so now?
I like the question. I was the head of a service. For some time now, I have been studying this phenomenon of near-death experiences. Years ago, if the current training of doctors is grounded in the scientific method, 20 years ago, this was the rule. To step away from this was a grave sin. It was to go against all. If I, as the department head, began at that time to promote all these phenomena that I saw and studied, I would have been told that in the auditorium where I mentioned it, that I would be admitted to the psychiatry service. In other words, it was a time when people were so confined in a box that it was the scientific method and they only saw four walls. They still didn't see that outside these walls is an endless expanse and that all is energy. And this energy is infinite. Now I am in retirement. I don't like being called retired. I prefer to be senior. I am senior. I am not retired. I am quite active. So I am senior and I will be a doctor for life until my final day. Therefore, as a senior, and at present, I am not worried. In other words, I say this because I do not harm anyone. If I had said it at that time, I would have harmed myself and the whole service. Conversely, at this moment, I harm myself and take this responsibility, and I have people who critique me, and I understand. I accept that there is a multitude of knowledge. All I request is that the person who critiques have the boldness to express it publicly, as I do, but always with a scientific foundation. What I won't accept is being told, I don't believe this because I was informed. No, I don't believe that the scientific method explains everything, but I have sought scientific paths that do explain it to me. In other words, if they deny what I say, they must justify it scientifically and genuinely prove that I am mistaken. I would have no trouble retracting, apologizing, and saying I was wrong. But they have to prove it to me. What I cannot accept is being told, I don't believe this, show me. No, I've been told that this is not a game. Well, back then for myself, and especially for a service, I kept it to myself. Now I can say it because I depend only on myself. I am senior, and even if they attack me, I accept the attack. But I am proud to say that they are falling. Scientists, the most difficult for me to convince are the scientists who are materialists and the philosophers from the West and Christian theologians. Yet I must say that bishops have asked me to talk to them about what death is. Bishops. And I have given a lecture to the bishops, and they have discussed it with philosophers, and many scientists are admitting how many doctors, Eben Alexander and other doctors, who used to criticize it and have now had near-death experiences, and they are now the great defenders worldwide. The near-death experience reflects our supraconsciousness, our true identity. They are the first to advocate for this belief. So now I'm not afraid. I know I have detractors, but I see that, and this is my goal and my dream, that are opening minds. We need to achieve a critical mass sufficient to change the universe. With ego, we will never change. We are heading more and more towards destruction, towards wars, towards the barbarities we observe. It is the supraconsciousness that unites us, presided over by love, that must resolve our universe. And awakening the supraconsciousness is what I aim for with these videos. It's to increase this critical mass.
If magnetic resonance imaging is what enables us to assert that what a person sees in a near-death experience is real, then why isn't it utilized to resolve cases in real life?
I operate under the assumption that I am not a neuroradiologist. I am not an expert. When I need a functional MRI, I seek help from an expert who is a neuroradiologist. He does my neuroradiology, and he does my functional MRI as a neuroradiologist. And he has his responsibility since he knows. He sends me a report about the patient, showing me this is visible, this has been done with this and that. That is to say, he interprets, and I don't know how to interpret it, not at all. I have learned with them images, but broadly speaking, but in detail. The ones who truly know are them, as they see hundreds, countless amounts. Then, I haven't said that the MRI is an examination that allows us to see objects that the patient has never seen and has only seen during the experience. A neuroradiologist told me. Afterward, a neurologist confirmed that if they activate, it's the mirror neurons, indicating that memory was formed. I don't say this, neuroradiologists do. For example, there's a neuroradiologist in Murcia with significant experience in this area who is interested in the topic and studies it. Can it be useful for other things? I don't know if from the point of view hasn't been used yet. In psychiatry, no functional MRIs have been done to explore mood phenomena that could justify a specific condition. To my knowledge, it hasn't been done. These are the psychiatrists who have to investigate this aspect if the MRI can reveal anything. They do it just to eliminate the possibility of a tumor, which can cause anomalies, to rule out brain atrophy, in other words, certain organic illnesses that justify a person's emotional disorder. However, to identify disorders that might influence treatment and resolve issues like hypnosis does. To my knowledge, psychiatrists have not done this. But let it be clear that I am saying what someone who knows infinitely more than I do about MRI has told me. I don't know. I know very little. I read what the neuroradiologist says, who is the expert. The neuroradiologist informed me of this.
Can one be happy with an excessive ego?
No, you can never be happy. Never in life. Never in life. The ego provides us with pleasure. What is pleasure? It's the sense of satisfaction, which is always very emotional with a heavy burden. The affective yen, when I achieve a material goal I have set for myself. I won the lottery, I got a good job, I bought a car, I have a beautiful girlfriend or a handsome boyfriend, whatever it is, always a material object. This is ego, and the ego always operates, never forget this, through a mental process we call character. And character is structured by habits. And based on habits, we think. And based on our thoughts, we have feelings. In other words, our emotional life is a result of our thoughts. How are these habits taught that shape a person's character? It happens in the mother's womb in the early years of life. What about today? What habits do we teach? Having habits means we are guided by certain dogmas. Those who have dogmas need a leader to impose them. If you have a leader who influences your habits, you are doing what you have been taught. You are not free. You feel moments of pleasure, which biochemically is shown by the release of dopamine in the brain. In contrast, real happiness is not dependent on the outside. It is an internal experience that arises from your superconsciousness and is expressed as peace, harmony, joy, silence, calm, and love. And biochemically, we have serotonin, which is released. In other words, true happiness is an expression of supraconsciousness. Pleasure is an expression of the ego. The ego will never give us true happiness.
He mentioned that stress is the cause of many diseases. How can we explain severe illnesses in those who have lived a stress-free life?
Many diseases are multifactorial, meaning they depend on several factors: genetic, dietary, environmental, and so on, etc. The thing is, we know stress is a major trigger for those who are predisposed to illness. This is quite clear. Moreover, this has been demonstrated biochemically. We know about cortisol and catecholamine release and their impact on the body. It reduces the immune system, etc. Cortisol does many things, especially under repeated stress. Therefore, what I want to understand is a person who seems calm. You can look calm on the outside, but inside you may feel tense. Like the person who says, I'm really calm, and I'm always sick, I keep getting colds, I have pneumonia, this happens to me. I would say you appear very calm, but I'd like to take a moment to see your blood catecholamine levels, your cortisol catecholamines, and I would like to do an immunological study to see how you are. That is to say, one thing is how we appear, and another is our internal biological reality. So when someone tells me they are calm, have no stress, and are sick, I'm cautious.
Patients with an NDE report that when they communicate, it's not with words. Might that communication be similar to telepathy?
Totally. The patients tell me this clearly. I ask them, when you are in the ND, for example, a patient who saw her mother who had recently passed away. Her joy was immense. They embraced. She says, how did you communicate, I ask. She replies, could you talk to her? Did you sense the touch? Not at all. All of our sensory organs, which are the gateways that allow us to interact with our environment, are not useful in the astral world. In the astral plane, everything is energy and thought. It is through thought that she communicated with her mother and felt all the affection her mother felt. She perceived her one via thought. Telepathy is this. It is one of the forms, as we have said, telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, mystical experiences, etc. All of these are manifestations of the superconsciousness. Telepathy is a form of energetic communication that is characteristic of the superconscious mind. That's how they communicate in the astral realm during near-death experiences. I've asked many sick people, and they all tell me, "Doctor, I communicate through thought." They say, "I can communicate with another being, another person, supraconsciousness, whom I meet in the astral realm, and without speaking, I communicate with thought, and he responds with thought." We communicate flawlessly through telepathy.
Do we all have a mission in life that evolves?
Totally. Completely. As we've mentioned, life is a game, as Jesuit Teilhard de Chardin said. We come here to grow, to eliminate impurities from alpha point to omega point until we achieve holiness. Each life is one of the opportunities we have to evolve, to improve. Each difficulty is an obstacle we face to learn, to grow, to enhance ourselves. Thus, someone who lives a life without taking advantage of it is wasting time. More reincarnations mean being farther from the goal. We can evolve a lot. The aim of my videos is to awaken awareness, to make us realize that we must remove impurities, and that what is truly important is the superconsciousness. Control the ego and let our higher self shine. That is, we should work to eliminate the bad and let the good rise. We evolve a lot by eliminating ignorance. Therefore, we advance a lot. We have made the most of this life. The karma we will carry, a Hindu would tell me, "You have improved a lot in karma this life," he would say. A Lama who perceives everything, who can travel and sees all in the astral realm. You have improved a lot. You were very primitive at first. Hey, you have evolved greatly. I would love for you to tell me this. You have made the most of the journey. The role you had in this life, you have made the most of it. This is what we should achieve with our friends in the videos. We should strive to understand who we really are, our genuine identity, our higher consciousness. When you touch it, and I have touched it, it's a unique experience that you never forget. I wouldn't trade it for anything. This is what we aim for with the videos.